Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today, in anticipation for the old world, we'll be playing some Warhammer Fantasy Battles. Now, to have a look at the table to begin with, it is a rather wintry landscape with a little bit of forest and some farmlands, seeing as Warhammer Fantasy doesn't really allow for a lot of terrain. As for the armies, we have Warriors of Chaos versus Dwarves at 1500 points. Starting off by having a look at the Dwarves. Now, a lot of these models are incredibly old. Some of them are even the first models I ever painted, so don't judge them too harshly. And some of them are even somewhat new-ish, seeing as I kind of just bought some Age of Sigmar models and rebased them to square bases. Starting off at the top of the list with a Dwarf Lord who is in no way, shape, or form related to a certain hobo king named after some carpentry. He is upgraded with a shield and a pistol. Behind him, we have a supposedly nudist with the Rune of Swiftness, so he has always strikes first. Next to them, we have a Master Engineer upgraded with a Handgun. And a Santa wannabe reindeer Thane with a shield and pistol. As for core units, we have a bunch of Dwarf Warriors upgraded with full command. We also have 2 units of Thunders, with 10 Thunders in each, upgraded with a Musician. And in between those, we have a pair of Cannons. A 10-man unit of Hammers with full command. And topping off the list, we have 15 Miners with full command. And we also rolled a 5 on the Grudge dice, so everyone just hates everyone, which sounds like an incredibly toxic work environment if you ask me. Now getting back to the more properly painted Chaos units here. We have a Sorcerer Lord level 3, and we'll be looking at his spells in a moment. We have a Chaos Lord who is upgraded with a shield, as you can see, and the Chaos mutation of the Hideous Visage, which is a interesting thought, seeing as you can be so goddamn ugly that you scare the shit out of the enemy. I start to suspect that I'm blessed by the Chaos Gods. An Exalted hero who has an additional hand weapon. 12 Chaos Warriors with a full command. Another 12 Chaos Warriors with full command. Warhounds, no upgrades. Chaos Marauders, full command. Chaos Knights with full command. As for the level 3 Chaos Sorcerer, he has the Lord of Shadows. So he has the Enfeebling Foe, the Withering, and the Pit of Shades. And that is it for 1500 points of Chaos versus Dwarves. Chaos rolled a 3 for the deployment and Dwarves rolled a 6, so they will be beginning the deployment using that table edge. We'll be trying a little bit of a different thing here, seeing as we have usually made the kind of typical recap outwards. Personally, I've always thought that it takes way too much time to record an entire thing, and people usually don't stick around for an hour or so. But we'll be doing this phase by phase this time to make sure I don't forget anything, because it's been eons since I played Warhammer Fantasy. I could have said that we're going to record bit by bit instead of just talk for 20 seconds for no apparent reason. Speaking of which, the first deployment of the Dwarves were the Miners with a Thane in the middle. As per their flank, I suppose. Chaos places a 20-man unit of Marauders in the center. The Dwarves place the 10 Thunders with the Master Engineer in the middle. Chaos mounts a 12-man Chaos Warrior group with a Chaos Lord on the right flank. The Dwarves mount a cannon to the left of the Master Engineer. Chaos places a 12-man Chaos Warrior squad with the Exalted hero on the left flank. Another Dwarf cannon is placed next to the previous one. Chaos places their Warhounds on the left flank. The Dwarves place their Hammers with the Lord on their left flank. A Chaos Sorcerer in the middle. More Thunders on the left flank of the Dwarves. Chaos finishes their deployment by adding the Chaos Knights to the rear part of the right flank. The Dwarves finish off their deployment by placing their 20 warrior block behind the Hammers and their Dragon Slayer or the Nudist behind them. Tactically speaking, maybe it wasn't the wisest choice of the Dwarf player to goes first because he had far more units than the Chaos player. Regardless, this is the end result. Thunders, Slayer, Warriors, Hammers, 2 cannons in the forest, followed by more Thunderers and Miners on the flank with their Thane. As for Chaos, we have the Warhounds on the left flank, Chaos Warriors with the Exalted Hero, Marauders, Sorcerer, Chaos Knights, and the Chaos Warriors with the Lord. I also forgot to mention that the Chaos Lord is obviously the General for the Chaos Army, and the General for the Dwarf Army is standing right there. Chaos gets a +1 for finishing deployment first, rolling a 7, versus the Dwarves 4. Chaos will be taking the first turn. As for the Chaos movement phase, not overly surprising I suppose. Everything marched up. The War Dogs, or Wolves, or whatever you want to call them, don't keep them as pests. They moved up their 7 inches. These guys marched. Same thing with the Chaos Marauders, headed straight into the teeth of the enemy, which most definitively is not a sacrificial unit. And the Riders were probably the only one who actually walked over to the magic phase. As for the magic phase of turn 1 for Chaos, or well, technically speaking, the rest of the entire goddamn turn, we rolled a total of 8 for the Winds of Magic, allowing the Dwarves to get 5 dispel dice, and I did not manage to get a channel. However, I didn't really have any useful spells, so I cast them all on the supercharged version of Pit of Shades, which is the large blast marker, landing it straight into the middle of the hammers, and as you can see, it kind of decimated them down to 4 hammers and a lord. They made a leadership though, and also took down 4 Chaos Warriors. Sorry, the Dwarf Warriors. 4 of them got killed, which is a pretty good opening in my opinion. And I did not actually miscast, so that's a first blood for Chaos. And as it turns out, I have a 4K version of this camera as well. Wonderful. The Dwarf Moon phase was incredibly boring, seeing as the Hammers and the Warriors just kind of swapped place, seeing as they took a whole bunch of casualties. Probably to serve as a gun line, seeing how the armor is constructed. As for the basically rest of Dwarf turn 1, the shooting phase, they just skipped the magic phase and have no shots to declare, so that's it. The Thunderers shot at the Chaos Warriors, causing no damage. However, 3 of those same Chaos Warriors got killed by this cannon. The other cannon, together with the Thunderers and the Master Engineer, shot at these Marauders, killing 4 of them in total. Turn 2 Chaos movement phase. The War Dogs moved up the side, together with pretty much everything else in a straight line. I don't really know why I'm recording movement phase, seeing as it's always just pushing up the entire same thing. As for the rest of the Chaos turn 2, the magic phase, since I can't really shoot or charge at the moment, or fight for that matter, we rolled a whopping amount of 4 on the Winds of Magic, and I did not get to channel, which in turn meant that the Dwarf player got 2 dice, and I got 4. I did manage to cast the smaller variant of the Pit of Shades, and as it turns out, the Dwarves are really weak to getting deleted. And the main reason I do believe is because they have an initiative of 2 and really small bases, which might be something the Games Workshop need to think about when making the old world, possibly. As you can see, it killed about 9 of them. The Dwarf Warriors are getting kind of whooped right now. The Dwarf movement was kind of a sad story. The Dwarf Warriors attempted to charge, and failed by an inch, as did the Miners. But the Hammers and the Dragon Slayer moved up behind them to get a little bit of a support, I would assume. On to the shooting phase. As for the Dwarf shooting phase, the Thunders opened fire upon the Chaos Warriors, not really causing any damage. However, the cannon managed to kill 3 of them. These Marauders got fired at by the Thunders together with the Master Engineer, taking down another 4. And as for these Chaos Warriors, they got hit by a cannon, which even caused some blue and blue damage. 3 of the Chaos Warriors got hit, 2 of them died. And then the cannonball rolled back into the Miners, which knocked down 2 of them. These things happen. I also forgot to mention that the Master Engineer actually saved a cannon by re-rolling his artillery dice from misfire to a hit. And this is it for the Dwarf turn at the moment. As for Chaos movement on turn 3, we had a successful charge on this unit, a failed charge right here, and I took 5 deaths by the standard shoot order, so I'm gonna have to take a royalties of those guys later. A successful charge here, and another one right there. So on to the magic phase. As for the chaos magic phase, things went kind of good, kind of not. We rolled double 6s for the winds of magic, allowing both of us to get pretty high dice rolls. However, the first spell I cast was the Enfeebling Foe, basically lowering the strength of the minor unit. And the second one was the Withering, lowering the toughness of the warrior units. The first one was, my opponent was kindly enough to let that one go. The second one was actually a miscast, double 6s, being irresistible force, however costing a miscast. I rolled a 6 on the miscast table, causing a little bit of a blast with strain 10 on my wizard. Didn't actually wound him though. I attempted the Pit of Shades on the Thunderers, but I failed to get the spell off. Basically meaning the dwarf player had 6 dice for the dispels, and didn't really get to use any of them. Chaos turn 3 close combat phase. Have you ever fallen asleep at some place you're not supposed to, like at a train, and you wake up somewhere you don't really know where it is, just someone hit the fast forward button on your life? That's pretty much what happened right now, because the Chaos Warriors that charged into the Dwarf Warriors slaughtered them all, and the fucking Chaos Lord rolled double 6s on Eye of the Gods for killing the Dwarf champion, and it turned into a Demon Prince. If that is the reward for just killing a random Dwarf Sergeant, I am pretty goddamn impressed. So they all died, and I have a Demon Prince. None of these units in camera right now failed their morale because of the death of the warriors. However, my Marauders just kind of went, fuck it, let's go back. Because they got shot at. Lazy ass. And as you can see, the minor unit here got hit by the Warhounds, and the Chaos Warriors got wiped out. I lost 1 warrior in the Chaos Warrior unit. I didn't lose the Wolves. They managed to chase down the last of the miners, killing about 10 of them and the Thane, which also turned out to cause a rout for everybody nearby, because the cannon and the Thunderers, including the Master Engineer, kind of went, fuck it, and ran for it. So as of right now, the only effective units that are left are the cannon, a couple hammers, a slayer, and a couple thunderers. The dwarf movement of turn 3 saw the right flank collapse entirely, the thunderers with the master engineer, and the cannon crew just fell back. I know you're supposed to remove the cannon, but it looks kind of neat. And the hammers, together with the Lord and the Dragon Slayer, went kind of like, you know what, fuck it. Go out in a blaze of glory, and charged into the Chaos Warrior unit with the Demon Prince, so the Dragon Slayer can fulfill his incredible purpose in life of shaving him, I suppose. Onto the dwarf shooting phase. The thunders that are left fired at the knights, causing no real damage. And the cannon tried to make something rather ambitious and fire into the pack of wolves, or dogs, or whatever the fuck they are, into the middle line there, so that would actually hit all of them if he managed to pull that off. But he somehow overcharged the shot and missed the unit entirely. So on to the fight between the nudist and the fat Nurgle Demon Prince. Well, this turned into a fucking shit show. The Slayer with the Rune of Swiftness actually managed to put a wound into the Demon Prince, who in turn caused absolutely fuck all in damage. The Hatred special rule that the Dwarves got for the Ancestral Grudge caused a lot of problems here, killing 2 of the Chaos Warriors. And as a combat resolution, they did win by 2, since they lost 1 of their own, and they charged. But I did manage to hold, so we'll see what happens in my turn on that note. Chaos movement on turn 4. The wolves kind of just turned around and moved this way. These Chaos Warriors charged into the cannon crew. and my Chaos Knights charged into the Thunderers, who decided to stand and shoot, but did not cause any damage. These Marauders finally decide to just turn around, after we've basically won the battle. Well, it's not over yet, we have a lot of problems to deal with right here. As with the Chaos Magic phase on turn 4, things quickly went sour for me. I cast the Withering and the Enfeebling Foe upon the Hammer unit, and I managed to miscast the latter one, which turned me basically brain dead, and I lost both the Pit of Shades and the Withering, and he's now a level 1 wizard who knows the Enfeebling Foe at least. So yeah, that turned into a bit of a shit show, which is kind of sad because I had 11 dice. I didn't really dare to use the Pit of Shades anyway, because that would probably cause more damage to me than to the enemy. As for the close combat phase of the Chaos, turn 4, the Chaos Knights charged into the Thunderers, killing 5 of them, didn't really cause them damage in return, which caused them to fail their morale check. In the close combat of the Demon Prince, the Slayer got killed, as well as 2 Hammers, so now they're down to a Lord and a Banner Bearer for their entire army. This is going out in a blaze. At the end of the Dwarf turn 4, the game kind of gets finished. The Thunderers ran off the table, seeing as the Knights were way too close, and the Lord as well as the last Hammer got killed by the Demon Prince and the Chaos Warriors, which is a end result Chaos victory.
And now we're gonna have a look at the game in hindsight. To begin with, the lists and our own tactics, so to speak. The main problem we had with the lists, I do believe, was the fact that we forgot about a lot of rules. For example, I had Vanguard upgrade on the Warhounds. I simply forgot about that entirely. The Dwarf player had the ambush, advanced ambush, or whatever the fuck it's called, for the miners that can basically plot them in from the side and flank me, which he forgot about. And to be fair, it's been a long time since we played Fantasy, but we kinda want to get geared up for the Old World release. Personally, I could have chosen to smash together my Chaos Warrior units to make a larger 24-man blob and kind of cut down on those 30 points of upgrades I needed for the full command. But I want the maneuverability of having 2 squads of those. And as for the Dwarf player, I do believe the list was solid as of general, especially since he saved some points on just having a musician in the Thunder squads. But the Hammers did not really live up to their full expectations, seeing as they got jeeted by the Pit of Shades, which is my next point. It was kind of a dick move of me, to be honest, to take the Lore of Shadows. I didn't really realize how powerful that would be until it was a bit too late. The Pit of Shades, for those of you who don't know, is basically a initiative test on those who are hit, as seeing as Dwarves, well, they're mounted on 20mm bases, and their initiative is like 2 across the board, which gives them a 1 in 3 chance of surviving the Pit of Shades. And a lot of them are going to get hit, as you saw in the beginning when we killed 6 Hammers in one go. Besides all that, this was also a little bit of a test to see if there's any interest in Warhammer Fantasy. Well, I most certainly haven't, seeing as I've played a lot of Total War lately, and didn't really grow all too fond of Age of Sigmar. And I also got a new camera that I want to try out, see a little bit about the video quality as well as the audio quality. So if you have any opinion on that, please drop it down in the comments below. And with that said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you around next time.